Okay, now we'll continue with the action support, action function, and action region. I think we already discussed the action support, but let me quickly show you how to give an action support. Action support is something where we'll give an additional capability to call Apex method from an unsupported tags. Let's say if I have something called drop downs. So I have a select option. So I have a single select list. Select list label, and here instead of options, I'll add a single option, or like let's keep it the same options. I will just score my options. I'm going to add over here my options, and then we have a selected selected option. So we need these two options. Selected option. Done. And here we're going to have select options and selected option and thing. Now, whenever I have selected some option, and then what are the action function and action region. So inside this select list, we can add a Apex action support, and where we'll mention the action equal to whatever the action that we're going to call, and then we're going to have a event. What is the event? Sorry, what is the event when we are going to call this method? Let's say I'm going to call it on change. So on change of the option, I would like to call a method. And then what else I would like to see then? After that, I would like to see let's say I will write one method over here. On change, select action when drop down changed. I don't have anything, just I was calling a method on change select, and I'm going to call that method on change select, and along with that we're having an action region. So let's say over here duplicate IDs. Okay, this is what actionpoller, action support, and action region support section. Now, so whenever this change has happened, I would like to bring only these values. I don't want to bring any of these values. So what I will do was I'm going to Apex action region. So what will happen was when we give like this, so it will only call this part of the list only. Let's get, I will give some input text over here. Apex input text, and I will give a value equal to something called test region, something like that. So I'm going to give this as a string value in the UI. Public string region. Set and test region. I'm going to print this, whether I will be getting this value or not. So actually what will happen whenever I click on any method and when I call the apex, whatever the changes I did in the page, all will be moved to when apex class, when I try to print it, the values will be printed when I give a get and set methods. But when I keep something in the action region and I'm trying to call this action, we'll see the difference. What will happen? Null of clear. Okay. So I'm having some value. My value 1, and I would like to select 32. So on change, what will happen? It will call the method. Debug only. My value 1 is print. Something is re-rendering. Why it is re-rendering? Re-render. Rendered region only equal to true. Okay. Now I have some value over here. Just change the value. I think again it's refreshing. Not sure why it's refreshing. Let's check. Changed. Now when we look at if action support, we have action region and we have all this. So when I give some value to the input text, and if I change some value over here, when I try to print over in a debug block and see, we will not getting that value. So let's say I was having this page. I have some value over here. Then when I click something, so what will happen? It will call an apex. So I had apex. So when I opened it, so it's having a null value. Okay. So now I do something called start polling and stop polling. Okay. So when I click start and stop polling, what happened was it will bring all the data to the developer console. So I have value when it went to that value. Now I change to this to some other value. Now I will make different change, and now it will also get a call the apex, and we'll see what the value will be. Now it's having a my value one. But when the my value one is sent, when I click on the any other action, what will happen was it will send everything on the page. But when I have action region, what it will does was it will only bring the data in the apex region. So it is have only in the action region, whatever there. So this input text is outside the action region. So it will not send to the um, server call. Okay, that's what a action region and action support, and we have action function. So what actually a action function is? Let's say now we'll just quickly check um, something called a script. And we having a script. So how we'll write was we'll be having some kind of a Java code. Um, so I have some alert saying page load completed. So no. Okay, so this is just a alert. So whenever the page is loaded, you will be having this pop-up. Okay, that means JavaScript is called. And now if I call any method, action function method, if I would like to call this method from a JavaScript. So I have this method I'm getting called. So I have to write this method as an action function. So I would like to, you can write anywhere in the page. Okay. So somewhere here, apex action function I have, and I would say action equal to my action function, I would say, and I will have a name of this method as a try from JS. Okay, so I have the method name as this one, the method name as this one. So I'd like to define this method on the apex class. So public void this method I will just add some debug here saying that so this is called from a JS. Okay, done, and have action function ready. So what I'm trying to do here, okay, what is problem? Okay, so this function I'm going to put inside the form tag. Okay, I have to put inside the form tag. That's what the error was. So let's say I have one action function, and I will place it here. And I'm trying to call this method whenever my page is getting loaded. The script, it will call only once when the page is loaded from top to bottom. It will get called. Okay. If you check my logs, control tab. Okay. Okay. So what's happening? So here, every time this method is returning a void, right? So what will happen was it will reload the page. When it's reload the page, again this JavaScript will get called, and again it will call the method. So it will repeating forever. So how we can end this was we need to mention re-render tag equal to some tag called only a form tag. Let's say we have a form tag here. So I'll only limit this to a form tag only re-render, not the entire page. So by doing this, what will happen? It will only re-render the form tag, and I'm having this JavaScript outside this form tag. So what will happen? It has to call once and stop. I think looks like it's not stopping. Um, okay, I click OK. So that's it. So I'll clear the log and see it stopped or not. Okay, if I try to refresh the page once, so it called once and stopped. And if you check my log, so it called twice. One is on load of the page, one is when it's called from a JS. So if you debug, so this called from a JS. So previously what happened when I not giving a re-render, what will happen was whenever this method is called, that it's a void. So what it will do, it will reload the page. Whenever a page is loaded, so what will happen? All page being executed. When the script also inside the page, what will happen? Again, it will call this method. So this method, what it will do, it will rerun the whole page. That's why it's entering into a loop and continuously it's popping up this alert. When I have a re-render option there, then it will only, when it's call this method, instead of re-rendering whole page, it will re-render on the tag that I have mentioned. So the script is outside this tag, so it will not call in a loop. Okay, that's what action function does. Action function, actionRegion, actionSupports are done. Now all these blocks we already seen. Action app, Apex page, pageBlock, pageBlockButtons, page messages. Okay, page message is something that I can show here. PageBlock table we know. PageBlock section item, pageBlock section everything we know. Only the Apex page message only something that we need to discuss now. If we want to Apex page message. So here Apex page message, and here I would give something called a summary. This page is used to explain the action tags of the VF page. And then I have severity. I would say info, and I'll close this one. So that's what I'm going to have, and just save this one. Okay, now let's see how it displays. See how it's displaying now. So it's having a summary message with a warning. So the color which is defined based on the severity. If I give a different messages, I will keep giving. So I have fatal, I have confirm, fatal, confirm, and warning. I have, I think this 4 only I will be having, I guess. More or less. Let's see here. If you see carefully, there is slight change in the colors. First one is a blue, second one is red, third one is a green, and last one is a orange color. So we will add some title to it, and summary we have added. That's I would like to add a information. Warning, confirm, fatal. Okay. So now we'll be having a title, and this might be somewhat color which we can identify. Okay, confirm message and all. What else we can display here? Detail, escape ID, rendered, severity, strength. Strength, I would say, if I want to give 10. Do you see any difference there? I'm not sure. But these are all the tags that we can use to display the Apex page message. Rendered means whether we want to display it or not. Right? Let's say if I rendered equal to false. Now what will happen was this message, info message, will not be shown there because I was not rendering it. So if by default it will be true, and if you want to control to show or hide the messages, you can give here one attribute and bind it from there like this expression, and you can control that from a Apex class so that you can show or hide this messages over there. Okay, that's what Apex page message, and these are all you are familiar. Now let's look into the other tags. I think this Apex column inside tag of the page block table, and then Apex form. So this is a form tag is mandatory to have any inputs or action tags to place in VF page tab panel. So now we'll see what are the tab panel and all. Now file new Visualforce page tab example VF page. So here Apex form, Apex what does this have? Apex tab, sorry, Apex tab panel. So inside the tab panel we'll be having a Apex tab, and then we'll be having a one more tab. Okay, in the tab panel, what all we can have? We can have active tab class, content class, content style, and then alignment, height, ID, immediate, inactive tab class, on click, press, selected tab, switch type. Switch type is one we have to use, and selected tab we have to mention what is selected tab, and then title is one, my tabs, and then what else we have? A width, let's say something around 60% I would like to keep. And in tab, what all we have? Disabled, focused, ID, immediate, label width, name, on click, switch type, style class, style, title. My tab one. What's the title equal to? Tab 2. Tab 1 contest. This is my tab 1 contents. My tab 2 contents. Okay, preview. Okay. I have tab 1 and tab 2 contents, but maybe not the title. Thing called titles not displaying, switch type, timeout. Not under anything called name or label. We have label. Okay, the label is used. Okay, yeah, I'm going to use to whenever you hover, I think we'll get the title. So if you hover over, let's say tab 1 title and tab 2 title and save. So whenever we have mouse over on it, so you will be seeing the title of a tab what we gave. And if we have something called width over here, style width 50%. I'm not sure if it will work or not, but let's try. Okay, it's saved. Oh. Okay, it become worse now. Okay, I think that's okay. This is how a tab will work. So when you're having something called tabs and you want to have the page, then you can use like this. Tab 3, I would say 3. See, so you can have a tabs and you can have a content over there. In switch tab, we can give a select name, and here on tab we will be having a name tag. Let's say tab 1 name equal to tab 2 tab 1 tab 2 and name equal to tab 3. And here in selected tab by default, if I want to land onto what tab 3, I can give a selected tab as a tab 3. So what will happen was it will directly jump onto a tab 3. So it's previously it is on a tab 1. Now it is on a tab 3. If I click on a tab 1 and if I try to refresh the page, so it will jump onto a tab 3. So based on when I select, it will change the whatever the selected tab it is being. And if you want to control the tab from programmatically, you will bind this value and will control from a Apex class. Okay, and now next, what are we having? We having tab panel to display the UI like tabs and contents in a tab. This is a child tag to the tab panel. So toolbar. A file new Apex class. File new Visualforce page. What it's saying? Tab panel or toolbar. Toolbar VF page. There's nothing like new there. This is also similar to the same. What we're going to have here was Apex tool panel in sorry, not tab panel. Toolbar, sorry, toolbar group. Sorry, the toolbar group. So we have a location, item separator, location, render, separator class, style class, toolbar group. Apex output link value equal to this one. My link. So I'll give some link over here. The link over here and toolbar. We're going to have a height item separator, ID on click, style width 2%. My bar. ID name, location, top. Max. So we will be having something like this one. It looks like a bar, but it's not. It's not a bar. You will be having. It looks like a tab, but not a tab. It's just a bar. So you can have a clickable items, and you can just have a normal items. If we click, and it will work like similar to this thing. That's what a toolbar and toolbar group. Toolbar contains the list of items as a bar. It is child component of the toolbar tag. And messages we have already seen. This tag is used to add messages to view of page from a text class. Now we have a panel bar item, panel grid, panel group. Okay, let's look. So for panel bar, let's write an example. Panel bar example view of page. Apex panel bar. The panel bar will be having a apex panel bar item panel bar item 1. Panel bar item 1. Now the panel bar class style id items rendered style class values which type width where you can have a multiple bars over here. Just a item 3 2. So having a okay, it's kind of accordions it looks. Whenever we click, it will open the contents. So whereas tabs, it is giving you the side by side, whereas a panel, it's giving you kind of at a time a single accordion and by clicking it will open up the accordion. So anything that is having a height over here, let's say I want to give height of 50 pixel. Work or not work? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. 500. Hmm. So this will decide the size of a panel. So height that we can give over here, and what else we having a panel bar item. Now we'll be having a panel grid. Apex panel grid and apex panel grid and bar item group. Toolbar panel bar item. So here bar group. Border 1, columns 3. Frame, header class, ID language, on click, title and summary. A panel grid is something where we want to display in the form of grids like table and table formats. Instead of using a table, we can use a panel grid, and we can inside that we can use groups so that it will group together and will display. So each element will be taken as one item and it will be displayed in the 3 column spaces. So first 1, 2 and 3 column displayed, and from the fourth one it will be entered into the new line. And here I have 2 items, and the 2 items I grouped into a panel group. So those 2 are combined into a single one and displayed over there. So let's have some panel bar. This is used to have a display similar to accordions, which are collapsible and open one at a time. And this is the child tag to the panel bar. This is used to display the contents in a table grid format with defined columns. In the panel grid tag, we can group some items into one grid. Now, the interesting one is the apex detail and param repeat, and these are all somewhat interesting. These are all mostly we'll see as like kind of UI stuff. If we want to have some sort of a UI, so instead of building something, then we can use these tags to have such a UI, and we can control our content inside this kind of a UI. Now, let's say I want to display some record page in my VF page. So it's not like I want to display like field by field. I don't want to give like that. I want to display entire page of record detail page into my Visualforce page, just providing the ID of it. So how I can do that? The file new VF page. Okay, detail tag VF page. So I'm having a apex form tag. Here I want to have the detail tag where I have to mention the subject, and here it's going to be ID of a record. So let me bring up some ID. It could be any project or a account. Title equal to my project page, and style equal to set subject. Here I would like to see one ID. Yes, I'm hard coding here, but we can have our dynamic pages as well. So let's give it has to a formula expression. It's saying okay. Okay, I'm just previewing. So this is the detail page. So it looks like it is in a record. I mean, I really opened some page, but it is not. It is completely a detail page, and how we can prove it. So sidebar, I want to make it false and save. So now you will lose the sidebar now after refresh. We'll lose. And if you want to header, show header, I would like to say false and save. So this header part we have, right? We're going to hide that one. So this how a detailed page will look like. So we're having a sections, and then we have a related list, everything. So if I don't want to display the related list, so I want to show charter here under related list. I would like to say false. I don't want to see a related list. Just I want to see this detail part only. So now I don't have a details. Okay, now I want to see the chatter. Show chatter through and see whether we can see the chatter or not. Once it is saved, it will get refreshed. Okay, now see, we have a chatter. Hi, hello. We can do a post over here. Everything works same as that one. Okay, so the detail, this tag is used to display the standard record detailed page in the VF page and control the contents to be displayed. We need to provide the record ID as a subject to the tag. Done. So far we're done with the detail. Now we have a apex param and apex repeat and apex facet. So I think apex facet we already seen. So this is used to display the contents in a header of the column tag in a page block table. Okay, so let's say in the header we want to display any kind of checkbox or action buttons or any kind of normal header, anything that you want to facet the column, then we will use a facet tag inside the page block table. Inside the column we will use a facet. Now we have a repeat. When we want to iterate the list of items in a VF page, so this tag is used to iterate the list of items in a VF page. Apex param. So this tag is used to assign the values to the variables in a VF page. Let's say we have a one table or something, and from that table we want to know, on click of a button, we want to capture the row that is being selected or a row that is checked. So what will happen, we have a list of things. Out of that we need to capture only the selected one, and we need to assign it to one variable, and a variable only we're going to use in a VF page. In those scenarios we'll use a apex param. So let's for example, we have action tags example here, right? In here we have action function something. Here we have some method that is going to call this action function, right? Suppose if I want to assign some value from JS to that one, param from JS, let's say. So here, if I would like to use apex param, so we'll be having a assign to tag to which attribute we would like to assign it to, and then we'll provide a name. Let's say JS2 apex variable one, and then a value. What is the value that we are trying to assign? Either we can directly give the values here, so that whatever the value that we are providing here, that will going to store in this assigned to variable. Otherwise, if you don't provide this value, so what will happen was it will be assigned to a, so I will add two parameters here. So the parameter order will be the same as the how it will pass to this one. So I was passing only one parameter, and so here I want to declare some variables. So public integer, and I would say here capture number get set, and then I would say capture str. I'm going to say string. I have two variables now, so I'd like to print these two variables in a action function. Number capture string. So here, so I have two variables, right? So one is a number I'm going to capture, another is a string. So here I'm not providing any value here. Okay, so actually how it works was, so if we having an action function, or okay, I have to give a different name. Tags. Maybe something called here in the use. So here we'll be having a apex param, and I have declared a variable here, like one string and one number. And whenever I call a method, here I was taking the example of action function, and I would like to assign a variable to it. Assign value to the variable. So this is a variable from Apex, and just I gave some name. It could be any name you can give. The name has to be different to assignment. So I was assigning this value over here. So what will happen? So whenever the page is called, so this JS method will be called, and was just refreshing. So whenever it's called again, I was calling this JavaScript method, and you can see whatever the value that I passed here, that will be coming over here. So let's say what is the option? So we have action tags example, yeah, here. So along with that, if I want to pass the number value, and here I'm going to give something like some numbers and save. I'm just clearing a log panel. Okay, it refreshed and called. Okay, I look for another value. Previously it is a null for one value, and we have a value in the second. Okay, if you observe, I gave a same name to the both tags. So what happened? It assigned the same value to the both things. So I would say something called different name if I give, and try to assign this one, and let's look at this result and see what will happen. When I gave a different name, I got the values correctly. Second one, second value, first one is the first value. This was how we can pass the parameters from a Visualforce page to Apex. We can assign the values and pass and repeat. We have already covered, and place it also we already seen. And that's all what we having on a Visualforce tags. And this custom interval, we see some example in the next session, and we'll close this development training. Thank you. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you. Vinay.
Yeah, thank you, Bala.
Thank you.